Welcome to the NEPA Scene Podcast. We're coming to you live from Cole Creative in downtown Wilkes-Barre. I'm Rich Howells. I'm the founder and editor of NEPA Scene. I'm on my own tonight. My guest host couldn't make it, but we have plenty to talk about tonight with Ragu and Patrick here from Mountain Sky. And so we're going to talk about the Jermyn music venue, not to be confused with Germany, Jermyn with a J, music venue Mountain Sky. We're going to talk about the Mountain Sky Orchestra, which Ragu plays in as well. We're going to talk about the Keeping It Alive Festival this Saturday at Mountain Sky and other upcoming shows they have this summer and fall. What it takes to run this venue, the local music scene, and much more. So tune in, ask questions, and leave comments. The show is always more fun and more interesting when we hear from you guys, the viewers. So if you have any questions about Mountain Sky, about local music, any things you want to hear us talk about, any things you want to hear us give opinions about, by all means, leave those down below, and we will get to them later in the show. So let me start with a little plug for our sponsor, Beer Boys, which is right down the street here. They have 72 beers on tap, and they give us these awesome crowlers every week to partake in. I know you guys are ready and raring to crack them open.
I got blood-curdling stories, but my throat is dry.
Yeah, so we got to wet the whistle before we get to that. So we have Cider Boys Raspberry Smash. That sounds pretty good. Trogs Sunshine Pills, which we've had on the show before. It's brewed in the Hershey area. And J.W. Dundee Honey Brown Lager. That one sounds really good. So which one do you guys want to go with first?
I want to try the Smash. Yeah, I want to try the raspberries.
Okay, yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Because summer's on its way.
Okay.
Summer's here. What is it? It's almost.
I know, you can't really tell.
I'll probably get one more snowstorm in Pocono Mountain. So.
But the never-ending winter, 2018.
Well, that's got to be tough for you guys, having most of your stuff outdoors.
Yeah, that's the hardest.
Did you see Miz wrote a song about that today? He posted it.
I did.
It was absolutely amazing. I forget exactly the name of the song. I'd have to look it up, but thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Miz actually
Cheers.
wrote a song about the never-ending winter, and the uncanny ability of it to have its effects on a man.
Yeah, well, it's the truth, and literally, Mother Nature kills us in some ways,
I've heard the theory a few times presented, because a lot of people always wonder why are people so cranky in northeastern Pennsylvania, and I think that is actually a big part of it. They said that geologically it actually makes sense that people in those types of climates, when it's constantly changing, like it can be here sometimes.
Look at people in San Diego. It's 70 degrees and beach bum day every day.
Yeah.
They all look, when they're 60, they look like they're 40.
Right, they're not getting hit with the big snowstorms and.
Look outside; it looks like London.
Yeah,
it's
right.
Always fun.
Then you think about the people in Alaska. It's like I don't believe. It's like how many hours of like no sunshine or months, right?
It's true. I remember watching Alaska State Troopers, and they were like, "It's been pretty cold lately. It's been negative 45, but it had big warm-ups. It's up to negative 21, so people are out doing stuff."
So
I'm like,
I feel fortunate we're on NEPA, honestly, when you think about that,
Negative
Sure.
21's a heat wave. That's pretty bad.
There are certainly worse places to be.
Yes.
Totally.
But Beer Boys also has live music on the weekends with no cover and half-price happy hour every night of the week, 8 to midnight on Fridays and Saturdays, and 9 to 11 every other night of the week. And their glass nights are on Wednesdays, so if you're not here watching the show and you're looking out to get a drink, make sure you head down there. The V-Spot is also one of our sponsors, and
he's one of ours as well.
Vinny talks very highly of you, Ragu, very often.
He's awesome. There's Vinny.
Exactly.
And he's awesome, literally. I don't even know. Like, there's no definition of Vinny. Regular Vinny.
Yeah, he is
He's
Vinny.
awesome. Equals awesome.
I'm not going awesome. I'm just saying Vinny is Vinny. I've been.
we're looking forward. We're gonna have him on the show hopefully within the next few weeks, maybe a month or so. And when he was on the old version of our show, it was quite a ball. So I'm sure this episode is gonna be very interesting.
I want to be here with Ben. Can we arrange that?
I think we should have a studio audience for that one.
I don't think NEPA can handle it.
Right. Out of the woodwork.
The resulting explosion would be the 80s all over again.
Right. So this week at the V-Spot, they have Alex O'Brien tonight, Mael Soul on Thursday, Black Tie Stereo on Friday, Destination West on Saturday, and DJ Huff is hosting karaoke on Sunday. And our NEPA Scene Rising Talent Open Mic and Talent Contest is only going on for 4 more weeks at the V-Spot. So if you haven't made it down yet, please do. Turnout was kind of so-so this week just because of the crazy weather we were having. I mean, some people didn't even have power, so I could understand that. But, those last couple of weeks, we always get a lot of people who, want to be in the finals, who want to win. And you're not going to do that if you're coming in at the last minute. So make sure, you got 4 weeks left, 1 month to go. So make sure you come in those next couple weeks if you want to increase your chances of winning.
Good luck.
Yes. We had a gentleman, Alex Key, who came the week before, didn't win, came back this week and won. So another great talent. We had some crazy stuff last night too. We had some dancing and stuff too, which was cool. We had a guy who did a tap dance, which was really neat.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
see, I dig that. There's a big. It's an outlet, is what it is, really.
I want to be a tap dancer. Who gives lessons? I want to be a tap dancer. That'd be fun. Can you see me doing tap dance?
No.
It'd be fun to try.
Not even a little.
Seriously, no.
Ragu in a tutu.
Tutu, spandex, and a halter.
Oh, that's a scary thought. I love you, buddy. But
make sure you comment below if you want to see that. Make sure you tell us.
Don't.
That's never gonna happen. But anyways, it's funny.
Anyway, yeah, but that's good tap dancing down there, man. That's interesting.
That's great. Yeah, it's crazy in a bar on a Tuesday night. So you get all kinds of stuff that you'd never expect to see.
The fact that I mean, that's almost a cultural shock to the people there because that's not something you'd normally see. Appreciate probably. I think you would. Was it good?
Oh yeah. It's always very good. Very rarely. Every once in a blue moon, you get somebody who's probably had a little too many, and they get up on stage and they want to treat it like it's karaoke night.
You told me I'm allowed back, though, right?
Yeah. I wasn't gonna say anything, but yeah, all right. Maybe you can come back.
Take a break.
This time I promise I won't sing Yoko Ono. Anyway.
Well, let's go. We want to get into Mountain Sky. Let's talk about all the way at the beginning. So, how did Mountain Sky get started?
Mountain Sky, literally, in all reality, was like we had some kind of what you're doing. We had radioscream.com going on, and that was just like Paul Barkey, Dave McAndrews, Ryan O'Malley. There's a few of us that we were doing an internet radio station, and we were working off my buddy's back porch. And then we found Mountain Sky, and that's how it all kind of, you know what I mean? That's how it progressed. It's like we found this piece of property because it was getting big. And the cool thing with that whole radioscranton.com is we'd have George Wesley or Brett Alexander or Miz in the studio when we're doing live broadcasts.
Right.
So that was the whole beginning of everything, you know what I mean? And now it is what it is.
Boy, it's grown.
It's definitely grown. But the reality of it was, and we're still gonna do it. We have the domain mountainskyradio.com right now, but everything's in the works are in the process. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Yeah, we'll get there. We have the room. You know what I mean? Definitely do.
So how did you end up coming on that property and making that into what it is now?
Actually, it was on Craigslist, and at that time we were outgrowing my buddy Paul Barkey's place, and it was just a little whatever down in Dunmore, which was beautiful, but we were outgrowing it. So it was basically on Craigslist, and Paul found it, and we went from there. First day was like the original originators of Woodstock in some ways.
Yeah.
There was like 5 of us, and the buildings were like beat up, condemned. condemned, grass was this high, and you know, that was the original everything, you know. And
All
here we
started
are.
from there.
It did. Yeah, it did.
It
It's
stemmed
pretty
from there.
amazing when you look back, you know, like from 7 years. It's like I look back and it's like,
Ragu and I were talking on the way up, and we were talking about the 7 years of Mountain Sky, and I haven't been there since the beginning, but I've been there probably about half. I'd say maybe 3 years, 4 years now. And I met family on that mountain. They're not family, but they are family, you know. You create a community,
definitely.
and it's an outlet for this music for our locals too, to come up and play this beautiful music. Joyful noise is written on the front of the stage, which is rightfully so, because it's exactly what it is. And everybody comes together as a community, and the diehards that really are the music fans. And it doesn't matter what kind, because I've heard, and I was saying this as well, I've heard some of the most beautiful music played off that humble stage at Mountain Sky in my life. I would put it toe to toe with any big festival venue, any big show I've ever seen, minus Roger Waters on the
He's
mountain
got
during the
it.
lightning storm. That was a tough one. That was a tough one. But everything was. This show that just passed, the music was amazing. It was an all-star lineup, and it really created a whole community. So.
Yeah, so the musicianship is phenomenal. I don't even know how to describe it. You know, it's like, I miss George Wesley, like, every day. He was a part of
We
it
all
from
do.
day one.
Yeah, how can you not miss
we
him?
all do. You're
Yeah.
right. You know, it's like, it all just,
But I know you guys had a special relationship with Wesley.
yeah, dude, it was awesome. You know, we played shows together, and it's like, yo, George, we're gonna start this thing. We have 117 acres. Property's been condemned for, I don't know, like 8 years. So we're gonna start a music venue. He's like, yeah, man. All right, let's do it. And then you look at the pictures. Here's George. There's no windows in this building. There's a tarp coming off of the side of
He
the
saw
side
what it was,
doors.
though. He saw
He
it.
did.
Yeah.
The vision.
He had a
was-
vision.
It's like hard to describe, you know. It's like, again,
He supported it. One love for
George.
George.
And you know what? I think you know, as amazing as you know, all the work that you guys put into it and everything else, without the quality local musicians that you have here, you'd never be able to do what you do. In the same way, I'd never be able to do what I do if we didn't have the talent here
It's
to
true.
build that off of. You know, it's a
Yeah,
great
yeah.
area for this.
Beam.
the talent in NEPA is phenomenal. It's crazy good. It's like I lived out in Arizona for a couple of years, and that whole thing in my life at that time was to go out there and play music.
Mhm.
And it's like I was in Tucson, so it's like there wasn't the local music scene like you have here. And then in Tucson, it was like basically the bands are traveling through and going to Vegas in some ways. But the local music, like us, you know, it's like we get together, we play. It wasn't out there. And again, NEPA is like, that's where I'm back home. You know, but not in all reality, home is home.
Right.
I did my journey for 2 years, and then I came back home, you know.
We do have a good music scene.
Oh, dude,
And
it's
a
sick.
lot of
In a great way, you know, it's like,
a lot of musicians don't have the outlets. That's
Sure.
And Mountain Sky provides an outlet for that.
And that's I think that's the most important thing. I think we talk about that all the time on the show, where you know, we're finally starting to see more venues pop up slowly but surely. But I mean, you guys have been putting in the time and energy into you know, giving these guys a place to play. That's the most important thing, because I think people take for granted that this stuff is here,
well,
and
maybe
they
not
maybe
take
don't.
it granted. Maybe they don't realize.
Yeah.
I will say this too.
You know what I
there's-
mean? Maybe not
Right.
take it granted.
There's a large number of friends I have that through the mountain that they put in their own time and they put in their own blood and sweat and tears to keep it going, because they see what we see. They see the vision of where we want it to go. We want it to grow and get bigger, and that way everybody could grow with it, you know. And these people put in their time, put in their hours. They come up and they help out, and you can't thank the community enough. You know, they're wonderful people.
Can you talk a little bit about the business end of things? You know, running a music venue is not easy.
It sucks. I'm gonna be straight up. Open a music venue. They said it would be fun. In all reality, it is fun, and it's very hard. the people, like not everybody, but a lot of the people that aren't in like our business or the bar business have no idea what it takes to put a show on. It's like from cutting the grass. I spend 12 hours a week in the summer times on a mower. That's no joke. That's no joke.
Oh,
and
man.
then that mower blows up. So then it's like, what do you do from there? And to the sound guy, to the light guys, these guys are there 2 days prior for the show getting set up.
Right.
And then you have security, and you have dumpsters, like
Porta johns,
everything. It's like crazy, and I didn't realize that in the beginning of Mountain Sky.
Well, yeah, it's not the first thing that you think of.
No.
You know, you're
it's
thinking
like,
about
we're
all the
party.
We're gonna have
Right.
a bunch
Let's
of
have a bunch
musicians.
of parties and
Exactly.
everybody's gonna be happy.
Pretty
Fun.
much. But then it's like, here comes
reality.
And
to
here's
punch
the,
you in
here's
face.
the bills. The bills start rolling, and well, that party was fun. But
Was it worth the squeeze?
You know
Was
what I
the
mean?
juice worth the squeeze?
Right.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a lot of work. I see what these guys go through. I really don't help so much.
Dude,
on that
in
end
all
of it.
reality, it's like we're not like montage or whatever. We don't have a backer. We're like you. We're grassroots.
Mhm.
So it's like our whole everything is
Depends on the
because of the
community.
volunteers.
Yeah.
I could not do everything on my own, and I cannot. I'm taking my glasses off to this to thank everybody that helps us. That's huge because we don't have backing. We are grassroots.
Right. And
And
nobody
again,
has to
to
do that.
everybody that's a part of
They
us.
believe in what you're doing, so they want to be a part of it.
Yeah, dude.
That's
and,
it. And
and
you want,
that's
you want
the
more people to
coolest
believe,
thing.
I guess, is what we're trying to get, you know?
If it wasn't for everybody that like Pat, everybody that's a part of us, we wouldn't be in existence. And again, to you guys.
Yes, thank you. I said that to a friend up there on the.
Let me
thought you should
let
come
me
in.
grab you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Which one's this now, Rich?
This is the brown ale, honey brown lager.
I'll tell you what, that raspberry one.
That was solid.
It
It was
was
really
really
good.
good.
And what do you call it?
Honey brown lager. I don't know. This is honey brown lager. What do you still raspberry?
Well, I'm just thinking, what do you call those little shakes?
Hey, you know, we have a pretty good festival coming up next weekend too, like a small Saturday show.
Yeah.
It's a benefit to help Mountain Sky.
Mhm.
What time does it start, right? I know we have it written down.
Like noon or something?
That's the inclusion, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know. I have no idea.
Keep It Alive, it's called. It starts at noon and it goes all day. They're gonna be horseback rides, and if it does have a little weather, they're gonna
Okay.
have a cover for that. They're gonna do bands inside, which would be nice because
And we're gonna rotate.
we're in and out, so in and out, they're gonna
Sure.
rotate. And it's to help just benefit the mountain. And then after that, the next show would be the Inclusion Fest, I believe, is it? Or is it Stonehenge?
Yeah.
Country Throwdown.
Yeah, it's country and then Stonehenge.
Yeah, this Inclusion Fest that's coming up.
That's pretty important. Like, to me, I feel honored to be a part of that. It's like these girls from New Jersey, they love our grounds, and Inclusion Fest, to me, it's a huge honor. And basically that's about like special needs and
Autism and
yeah, and it's like, that's huge.
But inclusion to include everybody. To know that
Exactly.
we're
It's not
all-
just
we're
about
all
that.
one, like
It's
the
everybody
George
come up and
Orwell.
enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
That's definitely, you know, when you told me about that, that's something that's near and dear to my heart because my brother is autistic. So, you know, growing up in that type of household and seeing what autistic people go through and what my parents went through to not only raise him, but you know, all the struggles they had to meet every single day to get people to understand what it was. You know, I think nowadays people take for granted a little bit that when we say autism, people know what you're talking about. And
Years ago it wasn't
yeah,
so.
exactly. I mean,
The
he
education wasn't there.
he's only a few years younger than me, so you know, in those days it was a lot different, and most people didn't know. Your average person on the street didn't know what autism was, and didn't quite understand it in the way that they do today. So you know, my parents started one of the first, if not the first, autism society in northeastern Pennsylvania,
Dude, that's
and
awesome.
got together with a bunch of parents and had to fight the school district, the Scranton School District, and everybody else every step of the way to get him included in just basic things to get him, she said, he's smart enough to be in a normal classroom. There's this idea that you have to dismiss these people and just put them in a separate room, forget about
I think
them.
They see something we don't. I really do feel that way.
Absolutely.
Dude, our Mayor Max.
Mayor Max. He's a kid at one of the families that helps out a lot up there. He knows everybody and where their camp is.
Yeah.
And he'll come around and talk, and he's such a...
He'll remind me of stuff. He'll come into my office, Michael Ragu, and it's like, thank you, Max.
You
Like, reality,
You really wonder what you're missing, because, I know, like, people with, like, Asperger's syndrome, and they have, like, it's a high functioning. And I have a friend where my daughter, Molly, is friends with their child who's around the same age, and she has that. And I'm blown away on how smart she is, like unbelievably smart.
Yes.
Like it seems like she's a year younger than my daughter, but she seems ahead of my daughter as far as like remembering things and understanding.
Right.
I'm blown away by it. Really blown away by it.
Seriously, look at some of these musicians. They're autistic.
Yeah.
And it's like back in the 40s or 50s, they would throw you somewhere.
Yeah.
But that's reality.
Yeah, it's terrible,
reality.
but it's
And
true.
It's like, here we are. It's like that one kid, he plays up at Arlo's all the time. He's like 13. He played with Clarence Spade at the Cultural Center. I can't remember his name offhand. No disrespect. It's just me.
Yeah,
the kid's freaking phenomenal. Like, and he's an autistic kid that rips the fucking guitar.
Yeah.
Like Clarence invites him up on stage, so you know he's good. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah, dude, it's like, I feel totally honored that it's like, I didn't come up with that Inclusion Fest. The girls, they came to us, Leah and, again, I'm terrible with names, but.
I am too, I'm sorry, I apologize. I met them at this last festival. Now, I heard about the Inclusion Festival, and I met them, and I
refill, fella.
Sure.
Ragu don't want any. He wants the carrot juice. But they were explaining to me about everything that's going on. I think it's wonderful to include everybody and understand like more awareness to it, like you're saying, brings more together. I guess the community comes together more.
Absolutely, and I think there's this idea that everything has to be separate, and for anybody who is, anyone who's different, anyone who has any type of handicap or intellectual or physical handicap of any kind, and we really need to work towards inclusion, like you said, where everybody can come together, and it's not just here's a thing for them and those people.
Yeah,
it's like we're all the same.
That's bullshit. We are all the same.
Another friend of mine, Stu, takes care of it's his job. He takes care of this workshop. He's a young man, and he's in a wheelchair, and he has a hard time. But he'll bring him down to the River Street Jazz Cafe.
Yeah.
Not River Street Jazz Cafe. I'm sorry. Sabatini's. Sabatini's. They'll play. What's that Dead cover band they play every month, first Monday of the week or the month? Long Strange Strip. And this kid comes alive with the music. Like,
well, dude,
it's amazing what music does for people. So to have this here, and Stu was already talking about it. He's like, I think I'm going to bring Bob up, and I'm glad he's going to.
Well, back in the day, my daughter Samantha was working at St. Joseph Center, and they would bring the bus up. And I'll never forget George Wesley and Annette, getting off stage when the bus was going away to thank them. And I've never, in my whole, they were calling me like Dad. And in all reality, one dude's like 40 years old. You know what I mean? But that's what it is.
Love, man. Love.
Fuck yeah. And it's like, here's this kid, or guy, or adult, or whatever on the back of my quad. I'm doing 2 miles an hour, and woo-hoo! And loving life.
Right.
Loving life. You know,
I think they appreciate life more and in a different way than any of us else do. Like you said, they have their own perspective.
They see
and
something
own...
we don't see.
Absolutely.
I try to see it. I try to follow the law. Actually, we were talking about this before the show. I said I try to model myself, my heart after George Wesley.
Yeah.
And I didn't know him as well as you guys did.
Right.
I didn't know George as well as you guys did, but to meet him just a handful of times, didn't take long to know how big of a warm person he was.
Yeah,
sure.
right.
Ball of love wrapped in skin.
Yes. Absolutely.
But yeah.
It's all good, in all reality.
Now, how will this how is this festival going to include? Is there things that are specific to these people that can help them enjoy it more, or maybe different in a way that if they went to a normal concert, just a regular at a regular venue,
I think
what would this be different?
It's everybody together enjoying it.
And
Together.
everybody
There's no
learns from
separate.
each other. You know what I mean? It's like let's all get together. What's that sound?
Yeah.
Let's all get.
There's a lot of songs like that. I don't know. But yeah, I agree.
We should all learn.
community.
We should all learn from each other.
Yeah.
Just because in society, quote unquote or whatever,
Always
you're autistic and no, we are the same. We're all a being. Let's learn from each other. It's like what upsets you? Like I ask Max all the time.
Mayor Max.
Yeah, Mayor Max. I love him. Hi Max, if you're out there.
I heard Artie's running for mayor this year.
Well, he already has. He wants to make me the court jester or some shit.
All right, go.
That's all right. You know what I mean?
I'll do it for you.
Yeah. Well, his mom has my hat. She used it for whatever.
I saw you with the clown nose. John Breen showed me that picture of you with the clown nose on.
Yeah, Jessica and I thought it was funny. That was a good time too.
Anyway, we're on topic.
It's okay to have too much fun.
Keep feeding this beer.
That's what the beer's for.
Right?
Exactly.
Loosens up, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's tough because when you like when my brother would go out, sometimes he would especially as a kid would throw tantrums and things like that, and people look at him like he's an alien, and then people look at my parents like they're bad parents, like. Obviously, you're bad people, and you've done this to him. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
And even as an adult,
this is what this whole thing is. Let's all figure it out.
Right.
There's so many people that have no idea.
I think it's important. It's just as important for your regular everyday people to actually to go to something like this too, and see things from their side and their perspective.
Sure. It's a lot easier not to understand something when you're not around it.
Sure. And you have a lot of people who are like, oh, that's nice, but they don't want to get involved.
And then some people feel
and this is an easy way to do that.
Yeah.
You're going to see a show, but you're also being a part of something else.
Well, that's like any handicap in some ways. It's like people like opening the door for somebody with a wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
It's like some people feel weird in some ways. You know what I mean? It's
sure.
Like, how do you react to the
right? You don't want to treat them differently in a way that makes them feel excluded or anything like that. But I went to a show a couple months ago at the Sherman Theater. It was Anthrax and Killswitch Engage, and they had the wheelchairs right up front, which I thought was really nice. I think maybe it should have been roped off a little bit more so that like people aren't piling on top of them or whatever. But I took note that the two headlining bands kept going over to them, giving them a pick, shaking their hand, patting them, making them feel like they were included, that they weren't just thrown to the side or anything like that. I thought that was so sweet and so important to do that, especially at that type of show where it's very high energy and you could be focused on a million other things, but that was the one thing that they thought of right away, like, all right, I got to make sure that those guys are as much into the show and feel like they're a part of it as everybody else is.
That's the huge thing. It's like, look at Mickey Hart. It's like music heals.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fact. Music heals.
It does heal. He's had a neurologist at the Museum of Natural History in New York. I was at that show, man, and it was amazing. Music does heal.
That's facts. It's like how many I remember George telling me he would go into the old age home or whatever, and he would play, and it was like he would come out with a smile. Yeah. That's not just George. That's how many musicians.
Right.
Like Preach Freedom, same thing. It's like it helps. It does something.
At this last show, the one that just passed at the Grateful for Spring.
Yeah.
Right. My friends that I camped with got kind of not annoyed with me, but I wasn't around.
Yeah.
I wasn't around. I had my backpack. I threw some beers in it, and I went up to the stages and I ping-ponged back and forth from the stages up in Mountain Sky. I went back and forth all day until 3 a.m. Then I danced in the rain. And I danced all day long, and I had a good time.
It's crazy.
For 3 days, I danced and had barely any sleep. Enjoyed the whole life of it, the music. and you feel such an energy when you leave a show like that. Like you feel filled up. And Tony Bosley goes, this to me, Tony goes, you know, now we've gotten all this energy and all this light, let's go out and spread it to the world, he goes, you know, so that's what we're trying to do.
That's what it's about.
By the way, Amy Pinder commented and said that she's
hi,
a co-producer of the Inclusion Festival with Lee.
Amy, that's
yeah.
Amy, sorry.
You can visit our website to learn more about our vision, plans, and accommodations. Will support and enhance all attendees' experiences. So
Thank
if
you,
you want to
Amy.
know more about that, make sure you head to the website.
Hi,
We also Ms. said, "What's up, guys? You guys are the best."
This is the
we
best.
love you, dude.
That
You're the
song,
best.
man, you wrote today. Play it.
Yeah, right.
right now.
You should play that right now. Can you do it?
Katie Evans says she wants to get a gig up there at some point. So
Katie Evans.
Hit up Mike Neal.
Mike Neal. And Rob Alapek has a comment as well. He said, I always thought of doing fests like this for years, but always thought the insurance to do this would be astronomical. Does those figures change from show to show?
Yes.
Is there a normal flat fee for a ballpark figure?
Depends.
Depends on the show.
It all depends, and it comes down to numbers. And it comes down to, are you doing a 1-day show, a 2-day show, or a 3-day show?
Okay.
You know, and it's like the insurance, you have to have it. Same thing with security. If you're thinking about one, you have to figure you need one security
And
guy.
permits.
Yeah.
The permits. Yeah.
Permits are the first
Yeah,
one.
remember what happened like 4 years
Yeah,
ago?
I do remember
Make
that.
sure
Yeah.
you get permits.
Yeah.
Seriously, make sure you get the permits. But all that, everything, it all comes to the same circle. It's like, all right, insurance, that's some, but then you gotta understand security,
Mm-hmm.
porta-johns,
I'd like to say this.
like EMS or whatever,
If
you
you
know.
think, who said that? Who was that?
Rob Alapek?
Rob Alapek. If you're thinking about having a show, Mountain Sky also leases out the land for you to have a show.
Oh, okay.
So they
At
take
our
care of
place,
all
yeah.
those other things. You pay a flat fee here, and then we'll get you get your show going for you.
Satellite Ranch, those guys,
Yeah.
they come up and they do,
Yep.
you know.
So if you're looking for a place to have it, with already has the permits and all the
Yeah, we're good to go.
porta johns and the security and the tickets and everything else, this is where you come to. We'll help you get your dream on.
Weddings even, we have like, what, 103 weddings this year?
It was
How about the dude got
proposed on stage at the show?
Oh, yeah?
It was real nice. What was her name from? What was the? She wasn't from Dancing Elephants. What was she from?
I can't remember.
Oh, there's so much music.
Seriously, but yeah.
You know what, man? You're really catching us at a bad time, Rich. It's right after a show.
But we love
What was
you
her
all.
name again? I
Love
can't
you
remember
guys.
that
We
song.
can't believe it.
Wait,
I
is
don't
it-
even know the name.
Aren't you guys always after a show of some form or another?
it's
Somewhere,
yeah. I see music 3 times a week. He's probably got me beat because he's in a band. So
Right.
actually, in a couple bands.
Yeah, it's
Mountain
fun.
Sky Orchestra band. I know you said you wanted to talk about that.
Yeah.
It was tight. The Sherman Theater.
Was it?
Yeah,
No,
you sounded so good. You
Yeah,
know.
dude, that was so much fun. That's another huge honor to be a part of, like playing with the Sherman. You know, we did the last year was like the Outside Summer Series.
Mhm.
It's all good, you know. It's like, yeah.
It was good. It was an excellent show. People that were there for the Allman Brothers Experience Dreams, it was, right?
Yes.
And they were coming down and they filled the whole front while Mountain Sky Orchestra got playing. And Mike Biz's dad is on guitar. You have Joe Statuto. You have Ragu. You have, there's
Tommy
how many
Evans, Brian
pieces?
Mack,
8?
and Len, yeah.
6.
Yeah, something like that.
You're catching us after a show, right? It's really not a good sign.
No, it's all good.
You don't know how many pieces are
No,
in
we're
there.
6 pieces. We're 6 pieces. But then you have the sound guys, so sometimes it's 7. Depends on where you're playing. So
Yeah.
we're either 6 or 7 pieces.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Rhett from Sound Monkey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, how long you guys been doing that?
Mountain Sky Orchestra?
Yeah.
Probably 5 years.
So almost as long as the venue.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like started the venue, basically brush hogged and cleaned up for a whole year. And then, yeah, I would say about 5.
So the band kind of come out of that, out of people hanging out at the venue, and
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
You know, it's like originally it was. I named it the Mountain Sky Orchestra because there were so many musicians like Jessica Luzzi and Christina Cox, and you know, it's like Christina's in Taiwan now, but
Yeah.
Joe Kapicki and whoever. we're all musicians hanging out, so I named it like Mountain Sky Orchestra because we're all musicians and we can all get up on stage and play.
Right.
And then we just want to be a little bit tighter.
The
And
wonderful
now,
thing about Mountain Sky is you never know, especially on the inside shows. Like, you'll have musicians showing up. They'll have 2 guys from this band, 4 guys from this band, 2 guys from this band over here. They've never played together before. And they get on stage without practicing and they light up the world.
I mean,
it's amazing.
It'll be like this guy and this guy played together, but the 3 never all played together
Yeah.
together, you know? And it's like
every time you go up there, there's it seems like they'll throw together something quick with a mixed match band and it's beautiful.
my last birthday bash was like kind of like, you know,
Your last birthday bash was one of my favorite shows I've ever seen.
We had Clarence Spade, we had Preach Freedom from Rusted Road,
Yeah.
Jamie Novak from Cabinet.
What's his name from Fuzzy Mud? Chris Malmuth.
Yeah,
And
Chris
you
was
had
there.
somebody else on keys. Who was on keys? I don't know. What Chuck was there too, playing the sax. That was a game changer.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're going off there.
It's all good.
We should probably let Rich run his show. Me and
Right. It was a long ride down here.
Yeah, that's true from where you're coming from. Yeah, I could see that.
Nah, it's all good.
So you guys do, we're talking a lot about the outdoor shows, but you guys do indoor stuff too.
It's throughout the winter.
Okay.
Or if somebody wants to leave, our whole, like, the vision is we started working on a recording studio, which is off of the inside stage. So it's like now we have the glass panel, like you're standing on the side of the stage.
Yeah.
And that's going to be like a recording studio, kind of basically like the
Internet
hard
radio too.
internet radio, and I want to get cameras on our outside stages. So that's going to be like the production room, you know. And so it's like what the goal is a band. You want to come up, you could rent our hall, you could sell 100 tickets, you could break even, and you come out with a recording. You know, like for me as a
Do a live
musician,
album.
it's like
Yeah.
I've been to the studios before. I know what it costs. You know,
That's a great idea.
it's totally. We put 100 people in there. You sell 100 tickets at $10. That's gonna pay as a band, like you know what I mean. That's gonna pay for everything. You get a live
Or
recording.
even if you don't get the full one, it alleviates a lot of the financial burden.
Right.
So, I mean, like, even if you only sold 60, 70 tickets, you're still alleviating a lot, you know? And cutting a live album in the process,
Well,
which
yeah,
is cool.
totally.
You can even put the crowd in there and get a couple of mics set up and have, like, you know.
And then
the
we
whole
could
archive
even take
experience.
it to the next level where you're editing it. You know, if you don't want the crowd, you know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
to me, it's music, arts, creativity, and the children. That's what Mountain Sky is.
Mhm.
And I can't express the children enough. I'm going to say that again, children, because what's going on with the schools? They're cutting the arts. They're cutting the music.
Right.
As long as I'm here, it's about the children.
Yeah.
Music, arts, creativity, and the children.
Molly loves
you
it up
know.
there. My daughter, she does. She
All the
absolutely
kids
loves it.
do. You know, we always have workshops for the kids. Like, to me, that's important. Come up and enjoy it. You know, it's like the horse-drawn wagon rides, and the petting zoos, and the face painting, and the kids, whatever activities. We always have workshops for them. You know, it's like, again,
Yeah.
the children. You know, and it sucks that the schools are doing what the fuck they do.
Well,
And I
more
mean
so, I
that,
think
you know.
politics.
Yeah.
More on the politicians than the schools, I think.
Well, yeah,
You know,
you're probably right.
it
It
is.
doesn't matter,
But
regardless.
the
It
school
just sucks
boards
what's
and
going
everybody
on
There's
with
a lot of
Sure.
a lot of things there that are gray areas that could
Yeah.
get fixed. So, but I totally agree.
Well, you know the issue too is there's not a ton that the whole family can get together and do these days. That isn't like there's a lot of stuff that's maybe aimed at kids, like you could take them to this kiddie concert where it's not real music, it's kind of
Yeah, it's not
karaoke
the same.
garbage
Or you can take them to a
stuff
concert
that.
where you're trying to avoid all the little things that are going on, or you can take them here.
Yeah, exactly. So it's cool for music fans who want to get their kids into that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And the
This
best
is
part
the
is
perfect venue for
Under 12
for
is
that.
free, which makes it
Mm.
great if you have a family of like 3 kids and 9, 7, and 5.
Right.
And here's the best part about it too: you pay, and not nothing against Peach and them, they have a big lineup and everything, but
Sure.
that's a $500 weekend if you're just going by yourself.
Sure.
You know,
Right.
if you were going with family, you're looking at well over $1,500, $1,600 I pay you for the weekend, for food, for everything, for drinks, the
Mhm.
kids, you and your whoever you're with. You come on Mountain Sky and pay $50 for a weekend, $60 for a weekend, and if you catch it early, $45 for a weekend. You get to bring your own drinks.
Yeah.
You get to bring your own food and grill. They have food there and vendors.
Yeah,
And
if you choose, you know.
And
Yeah,
if
that's
you
where
choose-
they kill you at these venues.
Yeah,
you
and
know,
the
the
best
food
part
and
is
drinks and
$10
everything
a
else.
Look, man, these places
Yeah.
are doing $10 a beer, and we're saying bring your own. Come up and camp right next to your car. You
Yeah.
don't have to sit there and drag stuff in and on a mountain. It's a beautiful place to be. It really is. It's
And
comfortable.
You see, like the kids, you know what I mean? It's like
They love it, man.
When I'm on stage and I see that little dude down there dancing, it's like,
Yeah.
hopefully he's my replacement.
Well, I know you like me
Right.
a lot, but
Not you, you're like
a little dude.
But you know what I'm saying? It's like the kids have a blast up there. And to me, that's important. Like,
Yeah.
it's all good, you know.
So with this festival that you have coming up, obviously the point is to raise some money and be able to keep the venue going as the name implies. What are maybe some of the biggest challenges to running the venue and upkeep and everything else that maybe people don't think about that you would like to? Weather's probably the biggest one.
So there's times I honestly think like this last festival it rained 2 days and there was still a lot of people there jamming and some because they know, but weather is a big thing. You could have the best days ever or the worst because of weather.
Right.
It can make or break you, and you can't tell months prior
If
that
anybody
weekend's gonna
has
be
a
good.
phone
Yeah.
number for Mother Nature, will you please
I
give
was
it to me?
joking.
I just want to talk to her. I'll take her to dinner. Come on, mommy.
My friend Stu and I
Yeah.
always joke. We say Mountain Sky is a weather anomaly because, and I don't mind if during the summer you get that 1 hour shower that pours through and you got to get under your tent, relax for. But
Yeah.
it's weather, I'd say, and getting people there,
That comes down
Come
to
out.
the weather. It's like,
But even after, I mean, you're still trying to get more people to.
Well, I'd imagine marketing is a tough thing in itself, just because you're
There's
not.
a lot of venues.
There's
that-
there's so many venues that are competing for your concert dollar, and not everybody has the expendable income to do everything that they want to do.
Exactly.
So, and you're going against people with that have big corporate money.
Yeah.
like Live Nation. It's like,
Sure.
Well, like we said, we're grassroots, like Ragu said. So we really grassroots means, and you depend on the community to support you
Right.
as a
Big
grassroots.
time. Without the community, it's
We're
like,
nothing. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. And I mean, really, when you go up there, the music and everything that you guys put on and everything like that Mike Neal and Ragu would go through, and they screen through a lot of bands, and they get these good lineups. But in the end, it's people getting there. People
Without the
appreciating
people.
it. Yeah.
Right.
Without the people, we're nothing. You know,
There's
It's like,
nothing
how do
there.
you pay the bills?
And there's no community without the people too.
No,
So, like,
it's not. But in general, it's like,
yeah.
how do you keep something going? You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, it's like you have bills. Everybody has bills, and you think about 117 acres in the bills.
Right.
Yeah, they
Exactly.
It's cutting the grass.
You think about the bills on your small property that you
Yeah.
might have at home. Never
Didn't you
mind
get that
something
letter from
that's
PBL
that
said,
huge.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, right. No, they were
They're like, cool.
"Fuck
You
up,
know,
we're
free
shutting it
electricity.
down."
Didn't you
That
hear
was
about
just
that new
last
windmill we
month.
put up? Good. No, it doesn't happen. And like I had a friend that his first time at the mountain. I've been bugging him for years. My cousin's cousin actually bugging him for years to get him up there, and he
Yeah.
finally came up. And it was late night. Eric Harvey and friends were playing. They were going through a killer set, and everybody's dancing and enjoying themselves. And he looks at me and he had tears in his eyes. And he's like, "Man, this place is beautiful." And I'm like, "Dude, how long have I been telling you that? And you know what's really
Right.
gonna bother you now that you've had such a great time? You're gonna go out and tell 100 people, and you're gonna bang your head against the wall because you can't get one of them to come."
Right.
Like it's
Well,
all you need is everybody to
until
reach
you get that,
people.
Yeah.
until they come the first time.
The first time they come, they're
It's like
hooked.
the repeat.
We get
people
rich
are-
up there.
I've been there before.
Oh, you have been there. That's right.
I have been there before.
Vinny finally showed up like after 5 years. He was up there the other day. to bring me out.
was he finally there?
Seriously, it's like, up.
It's hard to get that guy out unless it's to the V spot. Otherwise, you know.
But he doesn't even do that much.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You don't see him as much as you would think.
Yeah. But we love him.
I don't know Vinny that well. I know him a little. You guys know him better than I do. To see him.
Well, you brought it up before about the issue with the permits in Scott Township a couple of years ago. Have things kind of smoothed over since then? I think things better now.
Yeah, totally. And all that was politics again. You know what I mean? It was like, you guys do what you can do until we have a complaint, and then that complaint went to one person, started the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like right now, it's like Scott Township.
It's like a noise complaint, or
I think it was, wasn't it?
I think it was just like.
it was more or less,
You can't hear the music.
You people are different.
Hear the music at
You
her
people
house.
are different from me. You're not my crowd, so I'm gonna put in a complaint.
And you know what? It's sad you get some people that are that way, that they don't understand what's going
It's
on.
like one
to them.
bad
It's
apple.
not their cup
Yeah.
of tea. And
One bad
it's-
apple, you know, that's it. And then, but in all reality, it's like, we
But
all
things
get
have
along.
gotten better.
Yeah, totally. There was never really a bad thing going on there,
No.
except that one bad apple.
And
Whatever happened, that apple did what they did, and here we are.
but it's funny. I think it ended up resulting more in more people talking about the venue and knowing about it. Like, it really has an opposite effect. Whenever anybody does something like that and they try to start a controversy maybe where there really isn't one, or they try to make a big deal out of something that really isn't a big deal, then the media picks it up and then it becomes a story and people talk about it and they make their own decision based on the real information
I
that's
think
out
we
there.
talked about this at
And-
Camp Bisco that one time last
Right.
time I was on the show.
Well, that was
Yes,
the
we
same
did. We did talk about this, and
remember that.
same type of thing where people
One
have an
bad
idea.
apple.
They have an idea of what they think something is, and then they actually find out, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's not
Those things
what."
on the internet.
Y-
What my mom thinks I do, what my friends think I do, what I actually do.
Right,
Well,
right,
just
very
what
much
you're saying,
so.
Rich, is like Rock 107 had us into the studio, and
Yeah.
Prospector, he at the end of it all, he's like, a petition to keep Mountain Sky alive.
Right.
It was like, I don't know, like 2,800 signatures in 24 hours. It was ridiculous,
That's great.
and in a great way.
Yeah.
And that's what kept me ticking.
Right.
Because I'm the guy going to court.
Yeah.
I'm the guy that has to put a fucking suit on. Are you kidding me? Like a tie. That's when you know there's a problem.
I walk in with my pin hat. That would be
Yeah, but
one.
I'm being real though, and it's like, and you're right, the media did pick up on it. And then we had Channel 16 there, 2822, boom, they're going to the, and in some ways it was good for us.
Sure.
No publicity is
You
bad
know,
publicity,
right.
they say, you know?
Yeah.
But I mean, in the
But
same
it still
aspect,
sucks because she still complains.
music is,
You know what I mean? It's like, come on, can't we just, if we had money, we'd send her
And
on
they
a
do the
trip.
inside
Right,
joke,
yeah,
you know?
exactly. Like-
Here's some steaks or something.
yeah.
How about a hug? I'll give you a ragu hug.
That's worth its weight in gold.
Yeah.
I don't know about that, but anyways, I love
Right,
it.
but whatever they're paying you, double it. You're worth it.
I love my friends.
And you probably haven't not just as a concert goer, but an interesting perspective coming from the artistic standpoint. Because you're an artist, we've had you on the show before. If you haven't seen that episode, go back in our archives and watch that. So have you been there as a vendor as well, selling your art or anything like that?
I
or-
don't usually vend. It's actually this year. Last year I did the musicians art show, which is what you guys had me on for.
Right.
And this year I usually pick a certain amount of artists from the surrounding area,
Mhm.
and I'll draw them and paint them, and then I'll do one that's no longer with us. And this year I chose George Wesley. So this year I'm going to put George Wesley. I'm going to unveil him at the Reggae Line Festival for Mountain Sky, and I'm going to present the original to his wife Terry and his Mama Wesley, who was at my art show just recently.
Oh, that's awesome.
She was dancing to Eric Harvey playing. It was a beautiful sight on her birthday, nonetheless. So we're gonna, and I'll release some prints that day at Mountain Sky exclusively. So if you want to get a George Wesley print early, you have to be at that one.
Cool.
So, yeah, I don't know if I even answered that question. I'm sorry, we went to a
Nope.
show last weekend.
I wasn't even there.
You weren't there, I believe it.
It's all good.
So when you guys are looking for bands in the local music scene, what are you guys looking for when you're building this type of festival? the next couple festivals that you have coming up, there seems to be at least, maybe a theme or a general idea around the festival, and then you kind of build around that. So how do you put together a festival and choose the bands that are going to play and that sort of thing?
Creativity.
Listen,
It's like we have this band that they played Pink Floyd Animals last weekend. Rybren. And you know where I saw those guys? It was a costume party 2 years ago, wherever, up in Susquehanna County.
So good.
And then they were, and it's like
Static in the Attic.
and Carbonell Boys.
They're
it's like,
amazing.
Jesse Maurer, Jules, and who's the guy on bass? I always forget his name. If you're listening, I'm sorry. We had a concert last weekend. But they played, and I mean, it's sad with the rain. They didn't get the crowd I think they deserved, but they just played to the gods.
And then it's like,
You could play.
and then you have like, how many bands that hit us up that want to be a part of Mountain Sky?
Right.
A shit ton. But then it's like, how good are you? No disrespect to the kids that are like learning. That it's like 3 years ago, it's like, oh, you come back, and now they are. Now they're playing our stage because they went and they sharpened up their craft or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like they got it together, and I believed in you. Same thing with me. Same thing with anybody. Mike Miz. That kid is like any of us. It's like, how much do you believe in what you want to do? And as far as like finding bands, the sucky part is, for me anyways, it's like you get 300 bands that want to play, and you have to listen. You can't just listen to one song, because you want to give our audience, our Mountain Sky audience, the best thing that they could get. So you have to listen to 2 or 3 songs. Right. There's always that one band that has this one song.
That's great.
Yeah, but for a 45-minute set.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly.
And
can they maintain that?
And those are the bands I'm like, sharpen it up or whatever and come back. Sharpen your pencil, come back. And there's been several.
Yeah.
That came back and they're killing it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Static in the Attic, and on Sunday, they blew my doors up.
The music at Mountain Sky is the simple part. In all reality.
Yeah, that's the party.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the party.
That's the best part.
I'm just saying, like, we're all musicians. Not all of us, but it's like, I'm a musician, he's a musician, and then let's get together and jam.
Yeah.
It's always been like that.
And as an artist, like you said,
it's art, music, arts, creativity, and the children, again, the creativity. It's like, yeah, it's all good. It's all really, really good. And I feel fortunate. And I thank God I'm a part of it. You know what I mean?
Created it.
And
created the community.
There was a whole dream. Coming like from radioscreen.com to and it's like, and then it's like, how many people told me, I was like, what are you doing? You can't do that. And it's like, to me, for people to tell me I can't do something.
You're going to show them you can.
Exactly. Same thing with playing music, Pat. It's like back in the day, 20-some years ago, you can't play percussion. Back then I was a poet. Mm. And it was because of that negativity that I did what I did.
Yeah.
It's like with poetry or Mountain Sky or whatever. So it's like, just dream. Believe in what you're dreaming. And still, again, I'm still chasing the dream. It's like Mountain Sky, it's there. Yes, it is. But we're not there financially, but we're all still chasing that dream. Yeah. And I refuse to fucking quit.
Here,
you know what I mean?
Fill my glass.
I really do, man.
I don't know what this is.
There's I can crack open the last one if you want.
Yeah, let's try that one actually. That raspberry's good.
The Sunshine Pills, I believe this is,
you
from
might
Trogs.
Just get me in Ragu and IV. We'll drink it all.
Next time we come in, we'll bring them with us.
I'm not so thirsty. You refill there, buddy? But what's this one now? The pills?
Yeah, Trogs.
Trogs.
Sunshine Pills, which...
I love Trogs.
Trogs is one of our favorites on the show, too.
There was a band that actually played, they closed, they headlined the first night. He was saying about Rye Bread. They found this band called Escaper. Will Hansa, I mean...
Will, if you're out there, man.
Will Hansa. They're playing River Street coming up on the 30th.
It's like 2 weeks or something.
2 weeks or something, yeah, they're playing River Street. If you get a chance, go see Escaper. See them at Mount Sky, they'll be there again. and see them wherever you can see them. I consider myself on tour with them right now. I've seen them like the last 4 shows.
Well, think about the musicians that have come through our house. So you had Papa Chubby. Like literally, Papa Chubby. We had Dickie Betts.
Dickie Betts.
And
Yeah,
recently.
You just had Brooks or
Kenny Brooks.
Kenny Brooks. Yeah.
You know, and it's like just recently, Haley Jane, Escaper. What's that? Goose or Moose? What's that? Moose.
Goose. The Goose.
Sorry, guys.
Goose.
But whatever.
From Connecticut, they're phenomenal.
The musicianship.
Funk.
Yeah,
But anyway, I'm sorry. Yeah, we'll go on and on about the music. We'll take up the whole hour on the music, just the music alone. But yeah, Will Hans and those boys from Escaper they're
Haley
tremendous.
Jane in the comments.
The Primates.
Primates. I just think she looks like a comment, like she's way out there.
She's fantastic.
She is.
The Charming Beard said, "Can't wait to play there this Saturday." They're another a great local band.
There's they're playing Saturday.
We can't wait for you. You know.
The Mezzos are playing. Jude Monterano and the Mezzos are coming up to play Saturday, and they're pretty good.
Daniel McDonald says, "We love the mountain. The vibes in the mountain are indescribable. Such a magical place."
Anybody who's been there will say the same thing. It's just.
And
I know I sound like a big hippie talking about it, but people are writing the comments saying the same thing.
Well, but it's everybody. It's like we all bring this vibe, you know. And
there's really a good vibe there. It's good atmosphere.
So, other than obviously going to as many of these shows as possible, what are ways that people can support Mountain Sky and make sure that it keeps continuing for years to come?
Sponsorship.
You just come to the mountain.
And we're going to start doing the membership thing. And it's like we have sponsorships. It's like Backyard Ale House Vending, V-Spot, you know, it's like, and the Believers. You know, we have people that donate. Somebody just sent us a check for $1,000 to fix to get a bathhouse up and running.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? It's like,
The
how
shower
cool
house
is
is
that?
big.
Yeah.
It's like, and that dude that gave us the bathhouse believes in what we're doing. So it's like he wanted $1,200 or whatever plus delivery. I told him what we're about. He's like, he brought it, and there it is. It's a comfort station. Came from a lake up in the Poconos. I mean, there's so many ways. You know?
A lot of help.
Well, if it wasn't for the help, we wouldn't even be anywhere where we're at now.
So you could volunteer if you wanted to.
Volunteer, whatever, you know.
Volunteer could help you get, if you're low on cash, you want to see a show and something on the mountain. Volunteer, come up. They'll get you for like a 4-hour shift for the weekend. I think do whatever day, depending on how long it is, and then you get to see the show. So
Okay.
yeah, and you're always around the show, so you're not really that far away. I don't think.
Yeah.
You'll hear the music.
Yeah, right, you have to hear the music. That's what it's all about. If not, we'll get you a head
The
start.
biggest thing is just buy your ticket early. Get it at early bird. They sell golden tickets where you could buy a golden ticket for X amount of dollars. It might be 40 or 45, whatever it is.
I have no
And then you could use that golden ticket at any festival.
Oh, okay.
So anytime you want to, instead of paying the $60 at the door, you have this $40 voucher that you can get in, and you can buy them in advance. They're a great gift, and they have these big tickets. It's like Willy Wonka.
They are.
Right, who comes down in a purple suit with
remember?
the top hat.
That was Kamal's house. I was like, what are we going to do? This is like 5 years ago. We're going to try a golden ticket. He came up with the
Take
Willy
a
Wonka
drink,
thing.
and you'll sing.
That was awesome. Because we were broke. It's like, how are we going to pay the light bill? Well, what if we do a golden ticket? It's like
Great idea, man.
January 5 years ago.
It was a great idea. I bought one this year. I used it. I bought one for a friend. She used it at this last festival. She loved it. Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice option. So.
Yeah, it's all good.
Let's as we wrap up here, we got to get the plugs in. Make sure everybody knows when and where to go.
Oh yeah, let me see here. We got the whole schedule.
Yeah, get the whole schedule. Let's.
We have Keep It Alive next Saturday.
This Saturday.
This Saturday.
This coming Saturday.
The Country Throwdown is June 22nd, 23rd, 24th. It's a great show. I don't think you released your lineup for that yet, but it'll be out soon.
Yeah, big thing.
Then follow that by Stonehenge, which is also Stay for Sunday for the Old Lion Reggae Fest, which is where I'll be unveiling,
Yep.
George Wesley. And the Inclusion Fest, which we talked about, which if you get to any fest, that's the one you really.
And spread
Really
the
jump
word.
out and spread the word about it.
Everybody needs to be a part of that.
That
Yeah.
festival is just about love. It's about the whole message the mountain preaches all the time, what George Wesley used to preach. One love, man. It's about getting it out there. Bluegrass Blues Fest on August 31st through September 2nd. Satellite Ranch, which will have the Electric Forest, which if you don't get to see that, you
Mikey
really get to see
Nasser
that.
and the boys.
Mikey Nasser taking care of business, and Mike Labs and them. Still Grateful Fest is followed with that. Also, Electric Forest will be part of that, I believe. And maybe a few little things at the very end of the season.
Yeah, but
that might be up your sleeve.
don't forget, every year for the last 5 years, we have adopted the Carbondale Nursing Home for Christmas. So basically what that is, we go to the nursing home with 120 poinsettias, like the little ones, and 120 presents for everybody in the nursing home with a Mr. and Mrs. Claus and musicians. So that we could use some help with. It's like, come over, come
Sing
over, be
carols,
part.
you guys
Yeah.
do a lot there.
Yeah, it's awesome because it's like at that point it's like, what are we gonna do? Toys for Tots, that's taken. And a friend of mine, Nico, she was like, well, my mom's a nurse and everybody forgets about the elderly. Well, we don't because of Nico. You know what I'm saying? And it's a great cause. So it's like, come on, be a part. Just be a part of us. It's pretty cool.
You guys are doing a lot of good in the area. It's
We're
good
trying.
to hear.
You know what I mean? We're trying.
It's a lot of
And
love
plus
on the
we-
mountain,
yeah,
man.
dude,
It really
we,
is.
we have like 5 benefits this year. It's like not everything's on that slip. We have a couple weddings. We have a couple private parties.
Is there a Stonehenge festival as well?
Stonehenge, that's
Stonehenge,
Mark
yeah,
Diamede.
that's the one.
That-
Yeah,
that-
Mark Diomedes going to.
Okay.
Yeah, that's like this will be their
Juggling Sons.
26th year.
Wow. I'll tell you
That's
what, he
awesome.
showed up last year, and he was sick there for a little while, Mark. And we were all worried about him. Prayers and love and light and everything went out for him. And he showed up last year at the Still Grateful Festival, and he kind of gave him an early slot because he's not an early slot kind of
No,
guy.
he's a
Yeah.
He's a headline.
headliner.
He'll melt
It's
your
like,
face.
what do you mean? Like
And
4 o'clock in the afternoon.
but
Mark
because
Diamede
they didn't know how he would feel about getting on stage, and he
Sure.
was going to leave a slot open just in
Yeah.
case.
Yeah.
And he
That's
felt
what really
great, and
came
he
out.
came up, man.
Mhm.
And his hour was up, and everybody on that 117 acres was cheering more. And his poor Appalachian Gypsy Tribe was next. And you were on stage with them, and you're like, we don't have the time, we can't squeeze out one more song. We're going to make an executive decision.
And
But
that sucks.
he killed it, man. He
That
was
sucks.
amazing.
I hate those
Juggling
decisions.
Sons, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's all good.
it was a beautiful day, man. Beautiful time. And Mark was amazing. We wouldn't know he was sick.
Mark should
Leave it at that.
actually be on tour with Dead and Company, in my personal opinion. Like
Yeah,
Mark, I
he's-
mean,
he's
it's
good.
that good.
Yeah. Which one are you coming to, Rich? I'd have to
All
ask
of
you.
them.
You should come to all of them.
As many as I can get to.
We're gonna get you to a couple.
Yeah. I'll definitely try to make it more this year than I have.
It's
in
tough,
the last
man,
couple of years.
and we understand, but we want to see your face there. We miss you,
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah, big time.
and I bring everybody here.
Well, the last time you were there was Camp Rattler, right?
Yeah, I think so.
It was
Yeah,
Camp Rattler,
yeah, it was
James
good.
Callahan and Brittany.
Yeah, that's right,
and
yeah.
stuff.
Good man.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, I miss you
Well,
guys too.
well,
Brittany, where is Brittany?
Well,
Brittany, we were supposed to have a meeting.
we yell at her every show, so we're gonna keep yelling at her until she comes on.
I'm not yelling.
Yeah, me neither. I miss you. That's
I
I'm
miss you.
I'm yelling
Rich
at
could
you.
yell
Rich is
I'm
yelling.
yelling at you.
One love, Britt.
yeah, right. Ditto. I'm with that.
One love.
And just to kind of echo what everybody's been saying tonight, Sherry Sparks says if you've never been to Mountain Sky, you must go. Great atmosphere, great people, wonderful people,
Sherry
supporting
Sparks.
all musicians and
Great
artists.
photographer, Sherry Sparks.
Artist.
Jude
Mandarino.
yeah.
He's with the Mezzos. He's a good dude.
Yeah, he said, can't wait to get to the mountain this weekend with the Mezzos. Thanks for the shout out, Pat.
Yeah. Was it a shameless shout out? Is it, Jude? No. Not
Hey,
shameless.
there's nothing wrong with that. You got to get your plugs in while you can.
And it's a NEPA Scene kind of band. They're from
Absolutely.
NEPA. They play the Valley, and they originated here. A lot of great bands. Dave Brown and the Fiddlers. You know, there's some really good bands popping up right now.
Absolutely.
So, I'm sorry.
Well, speaking of plugs, since we got that, you want to plug your art as well. Where can people find your art?
Jeweled Moon on Facebook, Jeweled Moon _ Jeweled Moon _ art _ work on Instagram. And I also have an Etsy account. I just opened up an Etsy store. Just sold my first piece. But yes, you can get it on Facebook. You can get it on Instagram. Just message me if you find a piece that you like. If it's available, it's yours. So
Awesome.
thank you, by the way.
Yeah, no problem. And Ragu, you guys are on pretty much everything. You're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, mountainsky.com,
mountainsky.net, and Facebook and all that, and then Mountain Sky Orchestra. I think that's .com. It's something. Well, check us out.
It was a long weekend. We're still.
What day is
What day is this?
Right.
I feel like the dude.
Cleaning up.
Do you have a job, sir?
I need a job. If anybody's looking to hire me.
One musical director.
Yeah, right? Something.
Oh,
Hey,
gosh.
Rich, thanks for having us.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank
absolutely.
You. I
Of
really
course.
appreciate being here, man. It was a lot of fun. And the beer was delicious. These guys, beer boys, with these growlers are amazing.
They always hook us up. So yeah, thank you to Beer Boys again
Yeah, Beer
for
Boys.
the wonderful beer. That raspberry, I think, was a standout tonight. I think everybody enjoyed that one the most. It was a Cider Boys Raspberry Smash.
I think it's such a palate changer, really.
Yeah.
I use that for
it
my
is.
smoothies in the morning. I'm thinking,
Smoothie. But it's got raspberry. It's healthy.
seriously.
Yeah. What'd you put on top of that vodka?
What's wrong with us?
I'll tell you what's wrong with us. It's a hell of a weekend. Get to Mount Sky.
Yeah, please. Come and
That's
help.
what's right with us.
That's what's right with it. You see how happy this couch looks right now? You could be happy too.
Yeah.
Now listen.
Yeah. Oh, I want to give a shameless plug too for Tom and Bond for the beautiful shirt they gave me to wear tonight.
Oh, that's nice.
They, yeah, Tom and Bond's tie-dyes, Bond's tie-dyes by Bond. Sorry, I'll get it right. It's a good weekend.
Support local, support independent businesses, support independent venues like Mountain Sky, and hopefully we'll see you up on the mountain.
And the farmers.
Hey, and
Don't
support,
forget about the farmer
NEPA
workers.
Scene, man. NEPA Scene does a
Yeah,
lot of
please
good
come.
for the area too.
Thank you, appreciate it. Well, thank you guys for tuning in tonight. We will see you same time next week, Wednesday, 7 to 8 p.m. Right here on Facebook and also on Twitter. If you're more of a Twitter follower, you can follow us on there as well. We plug all our articles on there, and we do the live stream on Twitter
And
as
Pat
well.
and I are coming back, so that's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
I don't know yet, but
We're gonna crash next Tuesday here.
We're
Absolutely.
out here.
It's gonna be uncomfortable. It's only weird if you guys make it weird.
Right? Exactly. Once again, peace.
One love, everybody.
Everyone.
Thank you.
And thank you.
Thank you, Rich.